talking to Dominique and Adrian, cousin of In-House Chefs. We have a great conversation, and even though they are not dancers or actors or anything, their perseverance and what they've done and the conversation that we're having is so inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, they're still in the arts. He's a culinary artist, chef. And they kind of, they went through the same challenges as, the performing artists, as, are we good enough? Are we going to be able to do this? What's going on? And they share, the triumphs they've had, and the challenges as well, and how they got through it, and then how they got through it together. So if you're looking for a really great story on perseverance and really, truly engaging your passion, you're going to love hit what they have to say.
Yeah, stay tuned. If you've ever heard anyone tell you no, or tell you your dreams are crazy, their story is so inspiring. So if that's something you want to listen to, stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back. Hello and welcome back. Well, welcome back. Hello and welcome back to the Engage Your Passion podcast.
I'd say don't let anybody's expectations determine the expectations you have for yourself.
Is the career. Up and down is the career. Rejection is the career. And you have to learn how to be able to accept that into your life.
So reject me, please. Yeah. Because it's going to get me to where I am supposed to be.
If you wait for a perfect day, those days just left. They're gone and you can't get them back. It's time to engage your passion.
Hello and welcome back to the Engage Your Passion podcast, or we like to say the EYP podcast. My name's Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And together we are Tony and Sarah. So today we have two amazing people who've been in our lives for years, a long time. They are creatives and are passionate. We've worked with them for at least 10 plus years. And the great part about this couple who's coming in our spotlight today is they just never give up. And I think it's a testimony to who they are, what they represent. It's like they never give up.
Absolutely. I have the joy to work with their daughter and work alongside them almost daily. And it's really cool to actually have a couple who work together and hear about
understand what it's like to work with
do that, because there's so many challenges with that, and just getting some accountability.
Yeah. And so we are going to introduce Dominique and Adrian, cousin. They are the owners of In-House Chefs catering, luxury catering business. And they're going to tell us about their journey in the EYP Spotlight this week.
Awesome. Hey, guys.
Hey, gang.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
How are y'all?
Well, welcome to the podcast. I'm excited that you guys are here. We've been trying this for a little bit and we finally did it. So thank you.
And one thing we didn't mention in the introduction is Dominique actually used to work for us.
I did.
So
Dominique is still making us look good.
we shared like a little office.
Yes.
We did.
Back in the day, we were very privileged. Prior to little ones.
Yes, prior to.
Yes.
Yes. So we've known you for at least 18 months. No, anyway. And then I met Adrian at that time. And I remember before he was the culinary artist. Well, I guess you were always a culinary artist, but an official culinary
I was always
artist.
in the kitchen, but before before the good stuff started coming out.
I cooked a little bit. A little bit.
Yes.
So so for our listeners, just to kind of give you some scope as we go forward, our spotlight today is it's just really special because they I guess have just proven, not just to us and to themselves and everybody who's around them, but just perseverance is key. Just if whatever you believe, God, the spirit, the journey, whatever that is in your gut, and you listen to it, it will work out in the end. And so I think, and you guys are a perfect example of that, and taking the faith and the trust in yourselves and in your faith to not only start a business, but grow it. And then, take it to a point where you are truly making people's lives better by just doing what we say, engaging your passion, which is that. So I'm going to let my beautiful wife start off with the questions. And so, we just want to elevate you because we love you. And anyway, shush.
Well, I mean, I guess my first question is just to let the audience know kind of y'all's story as far as where you've been to how did you get to where you are right now with the business?
Absolutely. I'll start, and then I know that he'll fill in all those little blanks. But
Yes.
I mean, like for us, we were just, a normal newlywed couple trying to figure out life, trying to do what we think is right. We're having children, we're working, we're doing the thing. And then I remember very specifically the day you just looked so defeated. He just looked so defeated. He was working, Chef Adrian, and that's what I call him. I call him Chef Adrian, y'all. So, because I honor his position. I honor what he's accomplished. And I remember he came home, probably working at the end of a second, job, second, shift. And he was just tired and he was exhausted. And I said, this is not the way we should continue life. We're not living. I'm working in corporate. And he was just, doing a lot of shift work, whatever he needed to do to provide for our family. And when I said, you got to figure it out because this is not happy, what did you do?
Oh my God. I'm sorry. It just brought back memories.
Oh.
Like she said, I was working days in and day out, endless jobs from one to another. And I decided, I had a conversation and I said, what is it that I can do to provide a means for my family? But it didn't seem like work. And, thoughts came, and I'm always in the kitchen prepping for holidays, prepping for family get-togethers, friends coming over. And it just hit me. It said, go to culinary school, do what you like to do, follow your passion. And that's exactly what I did. On top of still working those 2 endless jobs, going to culinary school right after that, while having a baby.
Yes, and it was a lot. And I think as a wife, I saw him doing something he loved to do. He never complained about getting up early or being up late because he had a responsibility for us as a family. At the same time, he knew what he wanted to do and love. And I'll tell you this. And I'm sure that if there is anybody who works with their spouse out there, he came to me, he said, I have a vision, I have an idea. And I said,
you're crazy.
I said, get out. I did. I was not, I will admit, I was not 100% on board. However, we are strong in our faith.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're fine. But it was a lot of the questions of, well, how is that going to provide? What does that mean for money? Like, I wasn't seeing a full vision. I saw here is a hobby that you're taking and making it a career. Well, how does that work? And how does that work in real world? How does that work when we have mortgage, 1 child, and we're trying to have, and they're having another one on the way? Like, how does that fit in to this big picture, this big scheme of what I call life? And I had a hard time thinking outside the box. I think a lot of people do when you have been trained and driven, saying, this is what you do, this is how you become successful, and from point A to point B, and repeat. And you're asking me to do something that out of a comfort zone, but it was all based off, but there's so much more he had inside of him. And when you have something like that that's inside of you and you have determination, really anything can happen. But before jumping too far ahead, while he was in school, and I saw him, somebody who wasn't your straight A student, growing up, and here he is, young man, just killing it, was valedictorian, top of his culinary class. There are 66 master chefs in the US now, I think 67, but at the time there was only 1 here in our city, and he took him under his wing and was like, you are the guy that I want to train. You don't get that, a master chef to say so many potential things in him. And so I had to look at him not just as a wife, not as somebody who just says, we've got things to do. I had to look at him and say, there's an accomplishment, there's a talent here that is untapped, and we need to dive into it. And so he began to work and did a lot of things, worked for Fortune 500 companies, oil and gas, as their, head chef on their staff and training with them. And then one day he said, what'd you tell me?
So we got to work for ourselves. Try to work for the man.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
The truth, he just said, I don't want to work and do the same thing every day.
Right.
He's like, I love what I'm doing, but I want to do it on my own terms.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as I never thought these things would fit in together, I have marketing, sales degree, took a lot of entrepreneurship classes. So like I always had thoughts like that, but I never tapped into those own skills that I had. So I see this, my husband, and he's just doing an amazing job, and he comes home with the idea, right?
And I mean, let me bounce back to what you said.
Yeah.
You were thinking outside, you couldn't think outside of the box. She jumped all the way in that box. So.
It took a minute. It took a minute, but when we did, I did jump all the way in the box. And I think, as any, couple and things you got going on, you start looking at how we can make this into a reality. These ideas, these big goals, these big visions. How can we make this into a reality? With, again, continuing taking care of the responsibility of life. You know what I mean? Having children, that's not something you can't jump completely off the bridge.
That balance, you need that balance.
We had other things that we were concerned about. So we did find that balance, and little by little, and it's interesting. I'll tell this quick story too, was we continued, we were getting promoted within our jobs, and we had to say no to those promotions. And that was very hard, because we knew the more promotions we took, the more responsibility we would have, and the less time to engage in what he did. And I remember the day, when I, made the decision to leave, a job that I was doing, because we were getting busier. And I said, I can't do that. But he knows I'm such a, play it safe kind of person. I'm like, wait, financially, hold on, carry the one. Wait, does that make sense? And, and I believe that God, he can make beauty out of ashes for sure. And it wasn't until my father passed away that, and God rest his soul, he was a great man. But when he passed away, we were still working both jobs. Like we're both working, nonstop, still doing our business. And at that moment, because of just, life, like life hits you, I said, quit your other jobs, quit them. I said, life is too short. And I said,
that was a shock. That was a shock. I said, is he tricking me? Is there a camera around here?
He thought it was Grievance that was speaking, which, but it was at that moment when I said, we cannot keep spinning our wheels, we just can't. And at that moment, I said, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? You go get another job. You know what I mean? Like, just, as far as, but I said, this is the time. And I don't think we haven't looked back since. And slowly but surely, and then I quit a lot of the, outside things that I was doing. And I said, I can't, because we have to put what our passion is first. And this was our livelihood now at this point. It now becomes, this is how we feed our family. This is what keeps the roof over our heads.
The new norm. And there was just door after door that was opening.
That was opening for sure.
Wow.
So we had to walk through it. So that's how we got into it. And then more life, hits you, and you start coming up with more ideas to add on to your business. You know what I mean? You're like, well, let's try this. That can be an asset. Well, let's try this. That could be an asset. And growing to what we've been doing more recently. So.
Yeah, I remember when your dad passed, and that shift, like as I, an outside seeing you, I could see that like life is short. I'm going to go all in doing something that's going to make me happy versus, what's just makes the money,
Absolutely.
we talk a lot here about like having a really strong why, because, you know, there are days when, especially when you own your own business or you're trying to go after the thing that is, you know, not working for the man who's just paying your check. You have to have that strong why. What is that thing that keeps you guys going?
Man.
I'd say that's our kids top of the list, because I feel it a strong need to have something left to give the kids, to hand them down to, and then show them that if they work hard at whatever it is they want to do, whether it's catering or whatever their want in life is, that they can do it as well. So if they see their parents doing it, then that gives them that much more strength to go out and reach out and follow their dreams and just grab a hold of them and don't let go, you know?
Yeah. I want to add to that too, is besides, you know, that other part of when it comes to our kids is I want my kids to know they can really be anything. That's not what I was given. The idea of owning your own, the idea of, you know, being outside of a box where it just like you felt like you had to fit a mold growing up, and that was the only way to be successful. I wasn't given that opportunity. And we've had a lot of no's. We've had a lot of people who didn't believe in us. For sure, I can name them. You know what I mean? And a lot of people was like, that's crazy. And for us to be a person to them saying, no, you can. I mean, I find it comical, but my daughter, she believes, she's like, I want to be an entrepreneur. That's how she says it. And she starts selling bracelets. You know what I mean? Anywhere she goes. And I think that's amazing, because I never thought that was a thing. I never thought I could do that. You know why I didn't come up with a lemonade stand as a kid? Because I didn't think that was the way you could do it. Like, no, that's nothing. You go to school, you do. And I'm not bashing any of those things. But I'm saying is I didn't think there was anything else other than, you know what I mean? And so I want to give them, and my other reason for my why, I'm not going to cry, is everyone has a story. Everybody knows how they grew up. And this is a man that I continue, and I'm all about honor. I'm really big about that, about who you honor. And my husband will never say this about himself, but I know how he grew up. And just, you know, when you're not in a, you know, healthy environment always, or stable environment, you get very much stuck in a mindset. Right. I think we all can either we've been in that position, or we know somebody in that position where they get stuck. And this is somebody who I don't think in his wildest dreams could ever imagine. Not only are you an entrepreneur, a business owner, but a successful one at it too. There are things that are, you know, his ducks are in a row. We have retirement funds. We have college, you know, funds for our children, all built up. And that's not something that everybody has grown up on. Not everybody is given those opportunities. Not everybody has those plans put in place for them. And for him to not have those things, that's my why, is I want to continue to help and build alongside of somebody who appreciates that gift of, man, we're doing something great. We're making people happy. People love to come around with food, and we're serving amazing food, and we're appreciated for our talent and our efforts, and not just thrown by the wayside.
Oh, great. No. No, I think, you know, the catalyst of, you know, your dad and then just, I think that you said just honoring your spouse and then, you know, I think the big thing what I heard was just, you know, taking that risk, having the courage to follow the dream for whatever comes. And I think that is the challenge too, because not many people are willing to take that leap of faith. Much less together. You know, it's like, it can be challenging, but definitely, obviously with you guys, and we've seen it too, just the rewards are so worth it. It's so worth it.
Definitely.
So let me ask, so when you guys started the business, when did you guys start the catering company? What year was that?
It was 2014.
2014.
I believe
2014.
you came to our tasting, didn't you?
Yeah, I was there. I was there at the first tasting.
Yeah. Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah,
You
I
knew
was
you
there.
saw something good then. Got in on
Yeah,
the
it was.
beginning.
I mean, at the ground floor.
But that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I will say that that's interesting because, as we said, and I think there's a lot of people who have naysayers and people who may not, invest or really take it for what it's worth. And you did, and I'll never forget that because there's not a lot of people who they didn't come to that tasting. They didn't come to the here's a grand opening. But now it's like, hey, how's business?
Right. No, I think, and the food was good. I mean, I just remember Adrian being nervous, and I was like, nervous? You cook? And I'm like, what you nervous about? Can I have some more? No. So I guess, yeah, go ahead.
I said that never went away. This is my baby. So
yeah. So when did you guys go, okay, not only just financially, I guess, like when did you guys know, okay, we can do this? Like the wow moment, or that moment when it was like the turn the curve was like, okay, we're not stopping. This is when you guys kind of knew this was it while the business was going. Because I'm sure there was some like maybe self-doubt. I don't know. We've had some, but then it's like that, either that client or that moment or that situation when you went, no, this is it.
I think I'd say there are some times where when we first started, and we were kind of iffy because we didn't have jobs coming in, and we were very nervous at the time because the flow wasn't coming in, and we got the chance to realize that God always has a plan. He always has a plan. So those months and those weeks that we were stressing out, doors were opening, blessings were falling. He was giving us jobs when we needed them. He knew what we needed before we knew we needed it. And he knew the amount we needed before we knew we needed it. All of our needs were taken care of already. Yeah. We didn't know it. It's just we had to reach out and lean on him to fulfill our needs. And that's exactly what happened. I said, and I think you said this actually, that's when we knew that we were doing what it is that we were supposed to do.
Yeah, it was the blessings just were so overwhelming. And I think and just like what he said, there was a couple moments. I think that it was, we went through, you go highs and lows, right? Everybody has, flow season, and then you got some dry seasons. And we were in a dry season, and it was like, man, like did we make a mistake? Did we miss something? And it was, okay, here's our first celebrity, like pseudo celebrity, like client that came through. And we're like,
wow.
I mean, I sold the idea that we're awesome, but like, are we awesome? I don't know. Did I just oversell our, amazingness? And it was at the end of that night, and we're like, and so, but you have that moment where you're mouthing like, oh my gosh. And I think the client, comes forward, and she was like, you guys did an amazing job. Y'all have been doing this for years. I'm so excited. And I'm like, flawless. And we're like, it was, we're whispering like it was, and you have to play it real cool. Like, of course it is.
Then the client or moonwalking out the back door.
I did. I was like, and I think that was those moments where, like, we're doing it. We're doing what we're supposed to do. And I think that you get to a moment, and because we are very much faith-based, I'm always about when you don't have a plan, those are the most times where you allow God to take over. Sometimes I get in, we all get in our own head, right? Where it's like, oh, I got this plan. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Sometimes you got to be, I get nervous when it's like, I have too many plans and they're working, sometimes, because it's one of those, I can appreciate when I don't have a plan. I don't have an answer. We're just going to wait. And when that door flies through and wide open, and you're like, that's more than I could have done on my own. I could have never accomplished that on my own. There's not enough planning, and my brain's pretty big. Like I am a very big planner. We have ideas that just out of this world, right? See, when you know that spouse, everybody, if you're listening, point to that spouse that has all the ideas. Thank you so much. That's right. We appreciate being said. Yes, we do. There's a talent in that. But the best times are when you're like, even if I have a plan, I don't really know how to execute it. I don't really know. And then when it all works out, you're like, I take no credit. And I think that's just where we are with our faith, where it just took us to that moment to say, wow. And we got to that point where there's no turning back. Now, and I'll side note this. There's times where sometimes you want to quit on your spouse. We went through days where I think I said I quit every day.
I think she quit.
I think I fired him a couple times. Fired him. I said, you're fired from Chef Adrian. I don't have a chef. But there's a moment where you get to the point where can't really quit. Like this is what we do, and we're in it. We're in it for the long haul.
Well, I think that one of the things that you had mentioned too was the influence. I think the master chef. So it kind of leads into our next question. Once you guys got going and it's like, okay, this is it. What would you say, or who would you say was the biggest influence in maybe not just the business, but in encouraging you guys and maybe encouraging you, Adrian, with different ideas on food? And who was there? Was there, were there multiple people, one person in particular who was like that driving force, like you guys got this?
Yeah, for me, there's one chef in particular, actually at her previous job.
Yeah.
Chef Carlos. He was a great influence on me and fed me ideas. And he actually encouraged me to go to the culinary school that I went to. After having conversations, we decided, okay, I'm going here. He backed me. He gave me some ideas, some instructions on, tips on, how to best equip myself to remember everything in culinary school, as well as, after leaving culinary school, when we jumped into this journey of in-house chefs, he provided me with great support, help, just food ideas, and like it went a long way, and he's just an amazing person for that. Absolutely.
And I think, it's because we have two different jobs, two different roles, him as the chef and me doing a lot on the business side. I do follow a lot of different business, entrepreneurs. I follow a lot of business couples. It's huge to us. And that's what I've advised anybody is you find somebody who they don't have to be in the same industry. They just need to have the same goal-oriented, that you have. And that's when you link arms with, because it's iron sharpens iron. Always. Right. And we definitely had a few really great friends that was there behind us. And there were some that were even open saying, I don't understand it, but I'm still behind you. Right. And they were great, to encourage you with what you're doing. And our circle changed. I mean, the circle of people that we communicate with. We don't hang out with a lot of negative people. You know what I mean? Because in this business, being your own boss, following your passion, it's a risk every day you wake out of bed. Every time you wake up, you are making a risk. You know what I mean? And so it's great when we're around other, like-minded people, and it's spiritual advisors for us, but also people in our own industry where he's got a lot of chefs that he can rely on. I have people who they are all business, finance, sales, where I can, okay, hold on. How do you do that? You know what I mean? Expanding your knowledge. Because I do think that learning is key, to be successful for sure. Constantly learning.
Like what tools and habits, because we know owning your own business, like you said, it's a risk every day you wake up. Sometimes you might be like when Adrian was working, I know that we've had to you're running both ends burning both ends of the candle.
Yeah.
So like, as you've learned, what tools and habits like to just keep going and maintaining your health and your drive and just staying focused to keep building the empire you're trying to build.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, we definitely knew that spiritual health was huge to us. And we consistently, like that's a big thing is, you wake up, with gratitude. Because again, if you don't wake up with gratitude, then it's like all things negative, right? So we're always, praising it of what we're thankful for. Also, I would think obviously your physical health, like your health is your wealth. I am huge on that. If you're not taking care of it. And I think we've seen family members not do so well, in health wise, where it's like, I'll be doggone if I die before I see where this road is supposed to go. You know what I mean? I did not work this hard for us to, let life go by. Right. So we're all about, our, physical health and we, all make mistakes and go up and down, but we continue to make that still a priority. And then we make ourselves priority. Very early on, especially as a married couple, we have definitely had ups and downs, not just in business, but in marriage. And we had to get to the point where it was, let's put in order of our importance. Is the business more important than ourselves? Because if it is, then at least we know, at least we're on the same page, right? And you had looked at me and you said, it's not. I said, okay. So then as long as we are good, the business should thrive even through the bad, as long as we are good, together. And then knowing that, having that time with our kids and prioritizing, just quality time along with business. Do you have anything to add?
Oh no, that was great.
That was good.
That was great. Yeah.
We just talked about it. That's why I was like, well, I know the answer.
I mean, I guess, Adrian, I would ask you, like, since you're the, not that Dominique's, you're creative because, I mean, you just are a creative being, but in this business with the food, you have to be you are the creative, Adrian. Are there things that you do to keep your skills up? We always talk about skills versus value, but when you're cooking people food, they want it to be good. So like, is there stuff that you do to keep that going?
Oh yeah, you definitely have to keep up with trends going on in the culinary world. There's things always changing, new flavor combinations that are always being created. And, just whether it's through magazines, through television, or, consulting with another chef. And she hates when I do this. So when I cook at home and I experiment, I'm like, taste this.
I'm the guinea pig, y'all.
So she tries the diet.
And it always tastes good. It always tastes good, right?
It does. But then he says, like, try it again. No, I made it differently this time. I'm like, I'm full. This isn't the same meal. Like,
she gets it too. Not in the food, but she gets it too. Try this. Does this look right? Is this? Yeah.
I'm like, it looks like the same website page that you made 2 days ago.
No, but the coating's different. Anyway,
yeah. So is there anything like, as far as we have a lot of people that listen that are aspiring artists or wanting to be entrepreneurs, or they're also, moms or teachers, trying to help inspire that. So are there any recommendations that you guys would have as far as, like you said, going after your dreams and like living the life that you want to have? I know you guys said that's not how you grew up. So I know many students, as you do too, Dominique, we know these kids whose parents think this stuff is just hobby, so, but we can make it happen. Do you have any recommendations as far as like what people can do to help them follow in your footsteps in that way?
I would say just, whatever your craft is, just study on that craft and see what you can draw from different professionals in that area. So, get your whatever area it is, get your, how you say that, the portfolio diversified, but never change who you are. So keep to yourself, but you can draw in influences from these other people that are in your area and cultivate it to your own thing.
I like that too. And you really touched on exactly what I was going to say is, I don't think you need to follow a specific outline. I didn't say you can't. I don't think you just have to. When we've talked to anybody who is doing exactly what we are doing, with all the streams of what we're doing, what we do outside of just we make food for people. There is no one who is doing what I like. When you list all the things that we're doing, there's no one who's doing exactly what we're doing. There isn't. Right. I'm like, no, I mean, I follow. I'm like, well, what are they doing? Do they have this? Do they have? Well, that's what we are. So it's kind of like, and I'm not saying that there's no one in the whole wide world. It's very limited of who is doing this model exactly as we're doing it, within our own lives and our revenue streams and how we do, where it's not just about the money, but really engaging his passion and doing it all facets. No one's doing that. And just as he mentioned, is search out what are people doing, search out what people, how they're doing it, but then create your own. And he said, like, don't lose yourself, because there's certain things I'm like, we could do that, but that doesn't really represent us. We could do that, but you have different skill sets. I have different skill sets. How do we make our skill sets work for us where it's not work? We could fit in somebody else's mold. We could repeat the exact same steps that they did. But would it make us happy? No. Then it becomes a job.
It would seem like work.
Now it seems like work. So for us, when I think about it, it's not. Like when you said, like, because you mentioned, you said when we first got on the call, you had asked us about a previous job we had just done. There was a moment where I was like, what? Oh, because for us, it was, we had a conversation about the client that he just served and the conversations he had and the enjoyment of it and how people liked it. And he showed me pictures of everything. And it was like, we did just do a job. I mean, we got paid for it, but it was like, but it did not resonate to us because it was, heck, that could be like last week, you know what I mean? Like it felt like, oh, that was this morning, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so it's for us, it just doesn't feel like work. So I just think, find those things and you're right. Like search out, find an inspiration. Everywhere you go, find inspiration. The moment you don't feel inspired, change something, because you should feel nervous. If you don't feel inspired, change something and find that inspiration again.
I have a follow-up on that.
Yeah.
We were lucky enough to we were doing a virtual conference and we were presenting in a virtual conference. And we had a lot of, it was for high school, college people. And interesting, I opened up for the Q&A and there were many, many, many questions about, well, what if, there's so many people who are negative in what I want to do. Some were their parents, some were guardians, some were directors, or, and I kind of said, hold on to your why, because if you know in your heart that that's what you're supposed to do, then you've got to push through. But even you guys said naysayers and stuff like that. What, I mean, maybe just holding on to your why, but what got you guys through that? Or the mental health to go, no, I know what I'm doing. What were there anything in particular that you would say to people listening who are like, hey, I really want to do this, but dad thinks it's crazy, or mom thinks, or my director's not supporting me? Is there something that you could tell them, hold on to this, and maybe that might just to inspire some people, because we got a lot of feedback on how do I get through and handle the negativity, or the haters, as we say, in our generation.
that is what they are, the haters. Oh man, what do you think that you could? I think
for us, it was us. Like, it was
cool.
A lot of us, because we, no matter what the outside noise is, we said, we know what we're doing, and we believe this is what we're supposed to do, and this is, how we're supposed to do it, regardless of what he or she may think we had a conversation with, with us and God, and he put us on the right path, and we're going to follow that path.
I would definitely say find that one person.
Mm-hmm.
Someone had told me, a long time ago, sometimes it's not time for everybody to hear your dreams. It's not time for everyone to hear your passions. There's things that's within us that we have dreams and hopes of that nobody knows about. We haven't told anybody. You know why? Because if we said it out loud, it would scare the mess out of many people. Now, it hasn't lacked our faith in our ability to do it. We're ready to take over the world. but there's hopes and dreams and plans that we have that it's not time to be spoken yet. So, for anybody who's even, younger, where I get it, you have a parent, you have someone who's over you in that way. Find one person, at least one. You find your one that you can confide into and talk about those things. Someone who's going to build you up in that and be able to help you hold on to those dreams and help you navigate through that. Where it's like, okay, what can I do in the midst of this? Because you get someone who wants to start a business. Okay, well, let's go to business school. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe your business may be outside the box. When you think about like someone who wants to be an actor, or someone wants to be in the arts. Okay, and if they're not having anybody back them in that way, okay, well then, what is a wedge in between there? You know what I mean? Whether it's going for a communications degree, you know what I mean? Where even though you want to go for an acting degree, like what else can we do? Think of outside that box, but find that person who can help and you can bounce ideas off of. Because I always can shout an idea off to him and he'll look at it from the lens of, from his perspective, from the outward perspective, like our consumer perspective, before we go ahead and chunk it to the side. Same thing. He'll come to me with culinary ideas. No, I don't have a culinary degree, but I can listen. But I've been in this business now long enough to where I could say, no, that doesn't sound like, I don't know if that's going to hit the consumers we're looking to hit. Okay, let's try something else. And we bounce ideas off of each other, and we do it in a constructive way because I'm protective of his ideas and his heart, same way he is with me. So it's not a Debbie Downer. It is, you have to you can't shut down everything. You have to listen to it from that perspective of, wait, maybe I'm not seeing something you see. Take me into your world, engage me into that so I can listen from that perspective. And that's when we kind of make those ideas. But again, we kind of hold them all close knit because when you put it out there, it's easy for those haters to knock it down super cute, Yeah,
quick. We have a list a mile long and we only talk about them with each other.
Yeah.
Because there is something powerful about putting them out there. But I know there are a couple things that are on that list down the road, and he's like, how the heck are we going to do that? And we research together and we go, okay, what is it going to take to get there? And they're still like tight in there. Yeah. But there's also kind of like what you were saying, different perspective from him to me that holds it accountable. But yet we have our person who believes in us, where most people who, it's not that they don't want to believe in you, but they tend to not believe in themselves in that scenario. Right. And so they put that perception onto you guys.
Most people can projection. Yeah. And you got to be, I just think it was good to hear you say that, because I'm finding, as we've been doing this podcast now for a while, and then, working with everybody and stuff like that, we have found that your mental health and that mental positivity and the environment you have is a huge part of the strength to go forward. And to hear you guys, say and talk about that, finding that person. And I love the fact you don't have to tell everybody. My grandma used to say, guard your heart, Tony, guard your heart and shut your mouth. So, so you would do that. So,
so what are you guys up to now? What's next for you?
Well, let's see.
What you hear?
Adrian said, "What's next? We gonna eat."
He's like, I think it's lunchtime. No, it's interesting. But as far as what were you? Well, you tell him. I feel like I'm telling him all the stuff.
Oh,
Tell him all the good stuff that we do.
Well, all right.
Not only do we run a luxury catering company,
We also have a cooking show called Cooking with the Cousins.
we do.
That we're actually getting ready to.
Yeah, we're
do some
recording
shooting
more. We're actually shooting season 2 of our.
Okay.
And so it's a cooking show. It's found on YouTube. And we do a lot of private chef events, and we give experiences. We do cooking classes because he wants to teach the young people things that he wishes that he was. And we're all about giving back. That's the one thing. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but it's really big on our heart is we don't want to take what this universe has given to us and just leave it at that. We want to give back into it and to enrich somebody else's life. So he do a lot of those
we work with
cooking.
kids.
I do a lot of speaking engagements, encouraging others. And then on top of that, we've just recently launched our podcast.
Yay!
So the Chef Adrian Show. So that's been amazing, and it's been a lot of fun. A lot of fun when we just find ourselves on different platforms that people want to hear from us. People want to hear from real people doing life, doing what we love, and talking about a topic that's, well, what's more fun than talking about food? I don't know.
You gotta eat.
I mean, you have to eat every day. Let's think about different ways to do so. So that's always a lot of fun, and it's been a joy just with all the things that we do. So.
Awesome.
Well, that's really great. I would love to hear that.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that we would love to ask our spotlights, as this is the Engage Your Passion podcast, we like to say, what does that mean to you? What does the phrase "engage your passion" mean to you guys?
What does it mean to you?
So engage your passion. It means what can get me into my zone. What is it that puts me into my zone where I can just zone out, just lock in and create. So it's when you get into that, engaging into my passion means I'm locked in, I'm creating. I got it's almost like you working in a restaurant. It sucks when you're working and you got two things going on because your mind is just built to do 30 things at a time and do this, that over there, and that's how a lot of chefs work. You got 30 things because you're engaged, you got it going on. But when you're doing like one or two things, you're like, oh man, what? I'm not completely locked in because it's, you're used to performing on this level right here, and at least that's for me, locking in, being in my creating stages and allowing me to just zone out, put those headphones in, get my tasting spoons in my pocket and go at it.
That is your happy place, 100%. Yes. And it's interesting, shocker for anybody who does happen to know Chef, his favorite music to listen to in the kitchen is classical music.
Ah.
Yeah, I just put the Beethoven station on and
he listens.
That's awesome.
And you're like, I mean, now, hey, to each his own. To each his own. Yeah. Yeah. But that is not music that everyone has grown up on.
Not a lot of people know that.
They know now. They know now.
There's a moment when you meet him, you're like, really? Beethoven does it for you. Yeah.
Okay.
But the best dishes come out of it. So that's his happy place. Headphones in, and he's cooking, making a mess. In the kitchen, but he just goes and creates, and then he thinks he's feeding an army, and that's just dinner, y'all. That's just dinner for the family. That's not. I just described dinner for family. That's not, that's not for our events.
The kids love it.
Yes. They're like, Daddy, what are you making today? So, but yeah, like that's definitely his passion. But when I think about engaging your passion, it is where it doesn't matter what the world thinks. It doesn't matter what is going out there when you're doing something you love. And it's interesting that no, I may not be, that, creator on as far as the food side, but we're constantly talking. We're constantly, looking at what's new. What can we do differently for these events? The events that we do that are honestly, no event is ever the same. No menu is ever the same. So you have to imagine where every single time it's never we've done this. Nope. It is, hold on. What does this event entail? And how are we going to do it differently? It is a collaborative effort. We are always together talking about what we can do. And when I'm in the zone and it is like we, have our plan and we say, and break. And then we go to our separate corners while he works on his part and I work on mine. And I'm fiercely, typing on my laptop and I am engaged. And he's like, like it's midnight at night. And I was like, it is. I'm so excited about what I just typed in here. I'm so excited about this engagement, this conversation with the client, because we really do, like, our clients become like family. We have very long lasting relationships with our clients. And you're totally engaged. You're like, I'm having long conversations. He's like, what friend were you talking to? I was like, no, this was a client, because we're about to make this event for them fabulous. And they love us, you know what I mean? Because we're doing something, for them that makes them happy. That is my passion, you know what I mean? And inspiring others in that way. And we just do it differently, but it's still the same.
Yeah. It's creative on both sides. We have that too a lot. I mean, I do sometimes for some of our events, we'll do like, I'll do choreography or whatever, but a lot of the times I'm doing the logistics. And you're right. The logistics is just as creative as the seasoning you're putting on food, because sometimes more so, because you got to figure out how to get from here to here.
I would agree with that. I don't know if all the creatives always understand the difference, where I'm just like, you think it's easy to make sure that we get from point A to point B and that gets over here and these people line up here and everybody, that is an art. So it's like, it worked out perfectly, So.
We had a conversation just a few nights ago. You were asking me about something for a project coming up, and she asked me, and I go, well, and I went all over the place, and we came to us, and you were like, that's why I could have said. we think like that.
Absolutely, and that itself is a huge art. But it's one of those things where when you walk away from something like that, you feel like, yes. Figured that out, pat on the back.
But not many people can
do that. Yeah,
exactly.
But you can really I feel like it's to me. I've told him, when he have you taste something that he's made and whatnot, and he's like asking you, how did it taste? What was it like? He wants to interview you about one bite. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's very into making sure you've enjoyed that one bite of food. And I said that sense of accomplishment, that sense of self, completion, they enjoyed something I did. Mm-hmm. I feel that same way at the end of a job and say, they enjoyed your food, but did they enjoyed the night, the whole event process? Right. They enjoyed from the moment that they called me on the phone and all of the things that I helped iron out all of their concerns, and how, you got to where you needed to be, chef, and all of the staff and all the people that was all working parts did what they were supposed to do because you did your job. I feel accomplished. Yes. And that to me is my passion, things working out. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. I think even that the commonality is between both of us, or both companies and both couples and stuff like that, is we provide wonderful experiences, like celebratory experiences. If it's a sales meeting, or if it's just with the family, or if it's with friends or corporate, we help create those memories for people. If it's entertainment or marketing versus cooking, or and the food. but we allow them to take those memories with them. And I think that being able to say, like you said, oh, we did that, it was accomplished, and people walk away with those memories. That's all worth it. It's just all worth it. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. I love it. And I know you can appreciate this too, is every once in a while, you'll see either a client or a participant in something you've done. And when they reshare it on social media, you know, and where it meant something to them, and you can look back and say, I had a big hand in making that thing happen. You know what I mean? And it was just, but it was something that was so memorable to them, where for you, you might have moved on to several other projects since then. And it's one project the next. But when someone else says that one project that you worked on, it meant something so much so it's worth mentioning again and then again. And you get notifications of, man. That's this life that we're in right now. No one calls anymore for social media people. Just called and said, hey, a year ago you did this event, fabulous. Nope, no need. They'll share it. And you get that notification and you're like, they enjoyed it. It meant something. It was an impact on them. And that's a lot of self-gratification that you get within yourself. And you can say, hey, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. You know what I mean?
Speaking of social media, where can people find you? Like on social or the website or...
That was a good segue.
That was not planned.
You know, if this doesn't work out, I see you doing radio full time or all the time. Our website, www.inhousechefs.com. You can find us YouTube.
Yep, at Cooking with the Cousins.
Cooking with the Cousins. You can find us on Instagram, In-House Chefs HTX. And our podcast, you can find us on Spotify or iTunes, and that is The Chef Adrian
Show.
We just like to finish each other.
I like it. Oh my
gosh.
Awesome.
And the great thing is, the great part I love is that we get to work with you with all this, and it's just amazing how things come around. And I know you guys have some stuff for the holidays coming up, some special stuff. So with the holidays, and then even from this year into next year, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes.
Little plug for you.
No, it's really great that we've got these packages since we've been doing all the things that we've been doing, and people have been asking us, saying like, okay, well, how do I get to, they want to know more about what we do, how we do it, what he loves. They're asking his opinion. They don't really ask my opinion, what I like to do. I think that's just, the down part of the role that we play as well.
They know that you're going to like whatever it is that I make.
Oh, maybe so. Maybe so. But we did decide, and we took the time to put a lot of his favorite things in a package so that people can take them home for the holidays, take a little piece of us with them home for the holidays. Oh. And we've got a family package, and these are baskets that have, again, you've got chocolates, you've got some of wine, some of champagne, different food items, some of them have cheeses, all of the things that Chef likes and enjoys. So there's a family package that we have, and that one has something where pretty much you could share that, gift it to the family and friends. Here's a little bit for you, here's a little bit of that. We also have our foodie package, and a foodie package, definitely that's one of those, if you just like good quality foods, like this is the one you really want to have, and you may not want to share.
It affords Kenji. Yes.
But it has a lot more, access to some of his favorites. And then we have a VIP package. And the VIP package, that's the one with the Dom Perignon. Those are a lot of our clients. Love those. Because we are very silly. We hang out. We love a good laugh. But at the same time, being in this industry, you don't get around very much just eating Cheetos, every day. And so we've had the privilege of being able to taste, things that are out of the box, exotic foods, exotic meats, cheeses, chocolate, different things that we enjoy. And we find that like we wanted to pass that on to you, especially for those that may not have had a chance to do that all the time, but you're like, hey, I want to treat myself. It's the holidays, special occasion. I think he really chose Dom Perignon because it's my name. He calls me Dom for sure. He said,
I'm gonna start calling you that now.
And there's not a lot of people who do call me Dom. I'm not kidding.
So yeah, this is my Dom. You buy your basket so you can have your Dom.
Yeah. Now he's like, no, don't get your own Dom. So, but again, please, I encourage, check out the website. Again, you can get that inhousechefs.com. I know that Tony, you guys will have some different links to go to it directly as well.
Yeah, we'll definitely make sure that happens.
Please, yeah, and so get your packages. I mean, it's we do have limited because we're like, I cannot physically package all that many to all the people of the world. So we have only so many. But get it while it's hot, and you can really take a look and appreciate the different flavors and aspects of the chef Adrian and his experience and his other half, Dom.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Well, it sounds like you went from not really being able to think outside the box to like the box just exploded.
Loaded. Yeah.
So
just do away the box.
We kind of did. We said, forget that box.
Forget that box.
We're doing our own box. Now we're a circle. Then we'll be an oval. Then we'll be a hexagon. I'm looking for like 3D pyramid. I mean, we're gonna do some amazing things. So I'm excited to keep you guys updated on what we're doing every step of the way.
Absolutely. And I just say, I know we're about to wrap up. AJ's making sure, okay, I'm gonna wrap up. But I think it just I guess it just kind of moved me with how you guys started and everything. I guess just before you leave today, just one last thing that you would leave with those people, really, with the new normal that we have and the challenges, and everybody's talking about. It seems like there's so much negativity in what you can do and what you can accomplish, and seeing how you guys have just risen above that. What is the last thing that you would want to leave with the listeners? It's like, you're building, you're going after your dreams. If it's just one last thing that you could say that could hold on to, after listening to this amazing, dialogue with you, what's the last thing? What would you leave with them? Just anything. Just a tidbit of amazing information and advice.
Yeah.
I'd say don't let anybody's expectations determine the expectations you have for yourself.
100%. Don't let anybody else's. Don't let other people's limitations limit you. There was limited thinking, limited ability. Don't let it. And honestly, we did not rehearse that, but that's exactly what I was going to say. Again, he's got a story. I've got a story. He could have easily sat in our limitations. I get it with this pandemic. It's definitely could sit in your limitations, but no. Those are other people's limitations. That's not yours. Take this time, learn. There's things to be done. There's many things that we as a business evolved and sharpened during this pandemic. We made the most of it. We weren't sitting and wallowing. We looked at it as an opportunity to engage with each other, engage with our loved ones, engage with our passion, sharpen what we've been doing well. So don't let those limitations limit you.
Yeah, I would like to add to that something a saying that I got from a sermon a while back. So whatever it is that you're doing, whatever field you're in, and you're going to have the haters, you're going to have the negativity, never let that get you down. So you're never down. You are in two positions. You want to be up or you're getting up. So always you want those two positions, never down, either be up or you're getting up.
Love it.
Love it.
Well, we really appreciate you guys being here today. It was love. It's like we know you guys really well, but we just always get to learn more. Always we get to learn more. And so I guess with all of this, guys, we'll have some links from the podcast where you guys can get in touch with Adrian and Dominique if you guys have parties coming up, things like that, or you have their baskets and stuff like that. But
are you doing, if anyone's doing small holiday get-togethers, or you guys doing
Yes.
stuff like
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, you'll be able to, look on the notes and we'll make sure that all that's there. Thank you guys for coming out and, well, I guess not coming out, but coming on and talking with us. So I guess with that, it's just, I love that. Do not let other people's limitations of you, keep you down. That's just, I love it. A great way to end.
Yeah.
So I think with that, we will go. Thank you guys for listening to the Engage Your Passion podcast. I'm Tony.
I'm Sarah.
And until then, engage your passion.